Skies all open wide, geese go high and over. Oh, now you're a beachcomber, a fistful of sandfire, sea, lavender. See you next year.
Hello and welcome to Deepdale Podcast, October 2021. Can't believe we're this late in the year. Can't believe Halloween is around the corner and the C word, which we're not allowed to mention, is coming very soon. We've survived the season. It's been so lovely to see so many of you this year, and we survived the Deepdale Festival, which was the most wonderful event under blue skies, incredible artists, lovely customers, such a good weekend. We are concentrating on Halloween for this episode. I chat with three of the members of the Slow Theatre Company who are putting together Haunted Deepdale, the most wonderful event that's taking place at the end of this month for about 10 days on the orchard at Dalegate Market. So I talked to one of the writers, one of the actors, and one of the directors. So that'll be fun. They're lovely people, and it'll be great to know a bit more about what they've been doing up to this point and how they see the Haunted Deepdale taking place. So that's going to be great. Then Chris and I do a little bit of a review of the Deepdale Festival, the amazing artists and all of that kind of thing. And I'm going to include a little soundscape of a few of the bands and that we managed to capture on video or on recording during the weekend. And lastly, there'll be a little bit of farm chat between Nathan and I about what's going on the farm with our organic conversion and the process that we're going through at the moment. So yeah, enjoy the episode. Thanks for listening. Please remember you can subscribe to this podcast at any time through any decent podcast directory or app. Just look up Deepdale Podcast and we should be there. We'd love your comments about things we should include, or if you want to be interviewed, or if you want to send us something to put in. So send that to podcast@deepdalefarm.co.uk. Thanks for listening. Enjoy this episode, and we'll see you next month. Well, we're concentrating on Halloween this month because it's just around the corner, and we're getting very excited. And we like the orange of the pumpkins, and all of that kind of stuff. And the team like carving them in the courtyard. But this year is particularly special because it's our first Haunted Deepdale, and this is a storytelling, acting, kind of theatrical event that's happening on the orchard at Dalegate Market. It's the first time it's ever happened at Deepdale. And I have Steve with me, Steve Keyworth, who is the writer. Hi, Steve. How are you?
Hi, I'm very well. Yeah,
cool,
good.
Excellent. And so, how did you come about being the writer of Haunted Deepdale?
Well, I know Denny through doing improv with the Dogface Improv, and I know she does theatre work as well, and she knew that I've done a lot of Edinburgh festivals, got a lot of those under my belt, and I write for Radio 4 and sort of a BBC kind of soap series, essentially. So, she asked me if I'd be interested, and we had lots of kind of walks during lockdown on disused golf courses where we talked about how it might work.
And I noticed that Vanessa McAuley has joined us, so I'm just going to let her in.
That's great. I'm very rarely first for anything, so this is. I'm glad this is recorded.
You're patting yourself on the back, aren't you? Yeah. Well done. Excellent. Yeah. Yes, a star for you. Hi, Vanessa.
Hello.
Hi. How you doing?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Thanks for having me today.
Well, we just thought it'd be fun to kind of just chat on the Deepdale podcast. So tell me, what's your involvement with Haunted Deepdale?
So I'm one of the actors.
And so what are we allowed to tell people what part you're playing or what character?
All of them. We're all playing all of the roles at some point or another.
Excellent.
So we're keeping it nice and fresh for the audience and ourselves as well. So we're all learning all of the parts, and then we get to sort of change around throughout the days.
Excellent. And what was the last project you were working on before this?
Physical project would have been before lockdown, because obviously that's had a lot of restrictions. That was Twelfth Night, Shakespeare's Twelfth Night at the Guildhall. And I did some online collaborations during lockdown, because we all had to kind of go online, didn't we, and do some projects like that. So yeah, it's been a bit thin on the ground. It's lovely to be able to actually be doing something in person again.
And are you Norfolk based?
Yes, I am. Yeah, I've lived just outside of Kings Lynn for getting on for 4 years now.
Oh, fantastic! Oh, a local lady. And where are you based, Steve?
I'm in Norwich. I've been here 7 or 8 years, I think.
Excellent. So Steve was just mentioning that about the fact that he'd been sort of writing for Radio 4. I guess that's the sort of stuff that you've been able to carry on with through all of this bizarreness.
Yes. I was very lucky I was commissioned to adapt The Princess Bride. So all my TV work dried up.
Oh, I love that film so much.
Yeah, we're doing it on the radio at Christmas.
Recorded
it in June. So that's going to be a lot of fun when that comes out. So
that's so exciting. That is, I love the number of times The Princess Bride is referenced in modern TV and film shows. Sort of as that one of those things that you films that you have to have seen, and and I love introducing people to it. It's absolutely wonderful. So oh, that's very exciting. Excellent. That's really cool. Vanessa, what's the process of kind of getting involved with something like this? How do you discover about these parts and how you interconnected, or have you been connected with the Slow Theatre Company for a long time?
No, this is my first time acting with them. I actually saw the audition posted online. So initially we had to submit a self-tape. A very challenging task of telling a ghost story in 1 minute and using all the art forms we could to portray the ghost story. So that was a fun challenge. I submitted that to Denny, and then we went round to a second round of auditions on Zoom, where we had to prepare some of the work that Steve had already written and perform that via Zoom, again, something online. And then I was very lucky to be selected to take part this year.
Fantastic. Well, Danny has just popped into the waiting room, so I'm going to let her in as well.
So I've done quite a bit of promenade theatre outside already, and without realising it, it seems to be the thing that I come back to quite often. So I think I'm slightly specialising in it, but not too much. And so last year, probably about this time last year, I was thinking about how we in the arts have been closed completely since March, and I was thinking, people are talking about whether or not we can get back out for Christmas, and I thought, well, I don't feel comfortable bringing lots of people together in the theatre, and I myself don't feel like going to the theatre, but what if we brought something outside? And then I started to put together this idea that maybe we could do a pantomime that was promenade, where family units could just come and they'd see a scene. But then as last year carried on, at this time last year, we were heading into a lockdown again. And so I just thought, no, you know what, there is no possibility for theatre to function in this environment. So I put it on hold. But we, of course, then went into one lockdown after another. And for theatre makers, unless you're making stuff online, we haven't been able to do anything. Where we didn't have the reprieve of sort of summer hospitality or anything. So it felt really like we hadn't made anything artistic in the real world for so long, and for some people well over a year, maybe even a year and a half. So I thought, well, it's January, February, I'm feeling a bit glum. What would it be like if we thought about this again? But this time, let's not push it to think we can do Christmas, because actually there's a great deal on the landscape in Norfolk already for Christmas. How about that period leading into Christmas where actually actors and artists might need that extra bit of work? So then I looked at Halloween, and then from there I thought, where would I like to do it? And I'm not going to lie, I visited Deepdale camping probably about 10 years ago, and I've loved it ever since. I've been on the newsletter and I've constantly gone, I must go to that, or I must get back up there. And so actually this was my number one place, although we had to have a list of places, obviously. But and then I asked somebody I knew who was an electrician who did events, and he said, "Oh, have you thought about Deepdale camping?" And I was like, "Well, that's strange." So it felt like then I met Jason, and you know, you're not a bad person, so it felt like, okay, this looks like we can go ahead. Because I think
I'll take that. That was it was almost a compliment.
Now, the thing is I love the ethos, but sometimes a company can have a great ethos. It can be environmentally, and it can feel like it sits together with you, and then you meet the people and then you don't quite gel anyway. But I feel like straight away we were talking on the same path, and so that's how this became something. And then it was just a case of, okay, what we are a theatrical company, we're a theatre company, and one thing I'm always keen to do is push theatre, live theatrical events into people's mainstream who are more maybe used to either going to the cinema or going to events. So this isn't a scare acting, and it's not storytelling. There is an arc to the whole thing, and it is based within the theatre genre. So even though it's different and there's individual actors and it's little couplets of stories kind of thing, has this theatrical feel to it, which is what we do best, I think. And so it's just a case of them thinking, oh, well, is there material here in Norfolk? And of course there is plenty. And then when you start looking at myths and legends, they're quite hilarious and horrific at the same time, which is what you want for a good theatrical event. So that's pretty much it.
So Steve's been having great fun being able to turn those myths and legends into script, and then Vanessa gets the great opportunity to perform it. So that's fantastic fun. That's great.
So as Danny mentioned, it's not a scare fest. We will be adapting it for children. So it's for 6 years old and upwards. It will be entertaining, will be informative. We do cover a lot of ghost stories and legends from Norfolk. I've learned a heck of a lot just learning the script. It'll be something different. I don't think anybody will have been to anything quite like this before, and enjoyable. That's what I'm going to say about it.
So I'm not going to get chased by a man in a mask with a chainsaw.
You'll have to come and see. I can't promise anything. But
I was hoping you were going to promise that isn't the case.
Don't make any promises at this stage.
I have to interject and promise we will definitely not be chasing you with a chainsaw.
That's good, because I'm afraid things like Primeval just leave me cold. Well, actually, completely rigid with fear. But yeah, it's thing. So, and what about you, Steve? You know, kind of what you're the writer of this. You're kind of taken these basic stories and turn them into something more. What's your feelings?
Well, yeah, I was unable to find any old myths about a man with a chainsaw. So yes, that would be. It's a funny, scary, scarier after dark as it gets later. Immersive show. It's not like just standing and hearing. You know, it's not like listening to the radio. It's 3D or 4D, as they say in cinemas when they're dressing in costumes and running at you. But it's we're also not doing that. There were great stories here, and I've had a lot of fun picking out my favourite ones this year. There may be different favourite next year, and sort of running with it. And I met the cast this week, and they're great. So I think it's going to be a really fun theatrical experience. And as I say, it's funny as well as scary, and I hope kind of surprising. I'm trying to put lots of kind of surprises and twists in there. And afterwards, you can go and kind of visit some of these places. We sort of there's a location in one of the stories which is apparently wonderful to kind of visit, and maybe people will go and look for it afterwards.
Excellent. And so, Vanessa and Steve, have you discovered any legends from on your doorstep that you didn't really realise?
Oh, absolutely. For me personally, living in King's Lynn, I've learnt all about Queen Isabella, who I didn't know about at all before, and she was gifted Castle Rising by her husband. So I've really enjoyed learning about that. She's a great woman.
Excellent. And how about you, Denny? How would you sum up Haunted Deepdale?
I would say that It's full mystery and suspense, very funny, and as it gets darker, it gets spookier. So there's a twinkle in the eye of the actors telling the stories in the earlier shows, and but then as it gets a little bit spookier, and if you enjoy that feel of suspense and ghostly stories around a campfire feeling, then that's what we're aiming for as we go forward. It is an outside show, so expect to come and get that chill of October on you. Hopefully not the wetness of October. I like the chill of October.
No, we don't mention rain. It's all lovely. It never rains.
If it does rain, they do have marquees to stand under, so there is audience covering. You just have to walk between those. So there's a, we're trying to make sure that they get a comfortable English October experience.
Come dressed for the weather. It's going to be fantastic having Haunted Deepdale happening. Something completely different for us. We've done lots of events at Deepdale, and this is something very, very different. And it's just wonderful to have performance art back on the Orchard again. That's kind of very specifically local, which is really, really wonderful, but with that sort of wider sort of Halloween feel. So if for anybody who wants to come to Haunted Deepdale, you can find pretty much everything you need to know on deepdalehalloween.co.uk. That's deepdalehalloween.co.uk, or just look for Haunted Deepdale online. Tickets are available on there, which Danny took hours setting up. You buy a time slot for a period of time. It's about an hour and a bit going through. Is that right?
Yeah, it's important to realise that there's 15 entry times during the day. So you can come early on at 11:30 in the morning, or you can come at the last entry at 7:15. But you come 15 minutes before your entry time. Then we take you through, and it takes about an hour, and then you've got 10 minutes to sort of finish off. And also, I'd just like to give a shout out to any NHS key workers, anybody on a lower income. There is a ticket where, without any proof at all, you can go ahead and buy that ticket on a reduced ticket price. So, hopefully we'll be able to allow more people accessibility to this event as well.
Great. Fantastic. And yeah, you can buy tickets online, and then use that as an excuse to come up to Burnham Deepdale and then explore some of the local area. You might get encouraged to go and visit some places locally where the legends have come from, or just enjoy a beach walk or a meal in one of the local pubs or something like that. But we're really looking forward to having you guys with us. I really hope the rehearsals over the next couple of weeks go really well, and it will be fantastic to see you all on site. And thank you for getting involved. It's really wonderful. And where are you off to next, Vanessa? What's the next job after this, or are you back to the waiting game as an actor, waiting for the next thing?
No, I'm very lucky actually. I'm in a play in Norwich on the 12th of November called The Last Crumb at the Garage.
Ooh.
Excellent, that's great. What are you and Steve? You're waiting for Princess Bride to come out on Radio 4, but what are you allowed to tell us what else you're working on at the moment?
I write for Doctors, so I'm working on another episode of that, which will be filmed in freezing January and then go out in May next year. And so there'll be a lot of people pretending they're not cold in my episode.
Excellent, that's great. Excellent. And what about you, Denny? I know this is going to be a massive amount of work for you, and you're going to be tied up with this, but what else has the Slow Theatre Company got in the sort of cooking pot sort of coming kind of for after this?
Yeah, well, we have an artist development project that we've just put funding in, which is all online, and that connects people internationally, so all over the globe, with artists in the UK. And myself, I have a play that opened at the Brighton and Camden Fringe, and so hopefully we'll be picking up for a national tour next March or April. It's a very different theme. It's quite a dark piece, so it's a slightly different angle on life.
Excellent. Well, it's really lovely to speak to all three of you, and really look forward to working with you over the next few weeks. And for anybody out there, come and join us. Come and enjoy Haunted Deepdale, the wild ride. It's going to be a great experience and a fab way to celebrate Halloween, and a good excuse, as always, to come and visit the beautiful North Norfolk coast. Thanks a lot again, guys. So we're sitting in Chris's garden in Melton Constable.
We are.
And it's almost sunny.
I
It's
know.
under blue sky, and we're not dressed up to the nines,
No.
and
It's October.
Yeah, it's kind of bizarre, and we're still both. I think it's safe to say we're both still recovering from the festival.
Yeah, I think that is safe to say. It's taken a long time, and it feels like it's still taking more time. But no, we're getting there now.
But it was a huge success, and actually it was weather very similar to this, with blue skies most of the time, and actually so much warmer than we thought. It was going to be incredible, really.
We were very lucky with the weather, but we were owed that.
After the very wet 2019 festival.
Yeah, and the time that we've been waiting to do this one. So yeah, we were owed that. So we'll take that.
But the customers, I think, absolutely loved it, and I think the artists really loved it as well.
It really, really couldn't have gone any better than it did. There were some stresses and strains in the run up to it, and behind the scenes a little bit. We ended up having to replace some acts at very short notice for one reason or another.
Or found the odd drummer that was required.
Yeah, I that was a complete and utter surprise. Set up by one of our crew members who shall remain nameless.
No, Mark. Mark was happy to take the blame even if you didn't enjoy it.
Yeah, but I did enjoy it. That was obviously, from my perspective, that was a musical highlight. I absolutely loved it. Bearing in mind I hadn't sat behind a drum kit because of COVID for nearly 2 years without any practice at all. It was lovely, and the band Bleeding Hearts, the guys were incredible. They were amazing in helping me through playing their songs that I didn't know anything about at all. So that they were lovely, and I really, really enjoyed it.
I have to say it was really funny because they were, when I'm sitting there producing, the website and the programs and all that sort of stuff, and you kind of get all this promotional stuff from the bands and things like that, and their imagery is very kind of heavy, sort of like it's a sort of heavy metal band, really. And then
Punk folk.
Well, yeah,
Punk folk.
but their kind of their imagery is that heavy metal sort of side of it. Do you know what I mean? And so you kind of get an expectation of A, the people who are going to be in the band, and B, the type of music you're going to listen to. Despite the fact that I kind of watch YouTube videos of them and all of that kind of stuff, and so when we met them, kind of when they arrived, they were just the loveliest guys. And then when the way they embraced you coming in to play some drums, and it was just it was unexpected in a really lovely way. It was just it was really nice, and the smile on your face playing the drums was just awesome. And it was the team thought it was fabulous, so it was great.
Yeah.
So it went down really well.
It was a great little highlight of Saturday, and they were fantastic. They were great. Yeah. So having said that, of course, we had just such lovely people there the whole weekend. The artists were just fabulous. They were just so wonderful, so happy to be out playing. And one of the best things for me about the whole weekend was the number of artists who were gathering, meeting up with each other and chatting, spending time together. It was really heartwarming to see.
Yeah, every whether it was the courtyard or the orchard, there were sort of tables of artists chatting who hadn't seen each other in ages, and just that whole experience really was fantastic. And
it really was.
It was great.
We had such great acts through the weekend. I was blown away by performance of absolutely everybody. Yeah, absolutely everybody. And so, to come up with highlights would be very, very difficult, because everyone was so great. You can pick them all out and start talking about them. You'd be talking for hours. I have to say though, I did love the Goat Roper Rodeo band. It just fitted that point in the evening just so well on the Orchard stage. It was superb, and to have so many people spread out across the Orchard kind of enjoying it was just wonderful. Yeah, and of course it's taken us even longer to get them to Deepdale, because they were booked for 2019 and had to cancel because of illness, and so it's taken us even longer to get them. So I was really looking forward to them. They were amazing. Cutthroat Francis in the Brick Barn on Saturday.
They were storming,
blew it away.
Absolutely brilliant. Yeah.
But there were just so many. The Zong Zings were awesome.
They were so
in the orchard. And then in terms of pure quality performances, Katherine Priddy on Saturday, Shackleton Trio, Kirsty, Merryn and Ben Walker in the church, just so special. Those performances were so special.
Taking Katie Doherty and the Navigators over to the church kind of on Saturday afternoon, evening, where they were performing on Sunday, and and they were like, oh wow, this is amazing! What a stunning place, and their performance was absolutely beautiful.
Yes, it was. And they're keen to add us to their album tour next year. So
that's
we
very
need to
cool.
sit down and talk about that in a little while. and Sunday, Martin Simpson. What a lovely man.
Yeah.
And B, just the quality of his playing and singing and songwriting, just absolutely rapt audience. Man completely at the top of his game, completely master of what he does. World class, absolutely world class guitarist. Just amazing.
Well, John, who took photos, John Clifton, he put on a whole bunch of photos of Martin, and he was so excited about being able to being employed to take photos of somebody that he was completely in awe of. Was just brilliant. it was fantastic. So
but no, great. And then Three Daft Monkeys closing it off on Sunday night. Another group of really amazing people, and fantastic musicians. Just I don't think I stopped dancing during their set.
You didn't. I've got quite a lot of video of it. It's fine.
But just so happy, and all the others, you don't want to stop talking about them.
The nicest thing for me of the whole weekend, and I had so many amazing positives out of the weekend, so many great acts. But just standing in the courtyard about 7:45 on Thursday evening, after what we could both describe as a pretty stressful run up to the festival, worrying about a significant number of things and not a lot of sleep, but to see that buzz in the courtyard of all of those lovely customers who had come and made the effort to arrive on Thursday, who'd been waiting for 2 years to come back to Deepdale, who have been back and back and back to Deepdale, a lot of them during COVID times, to support us. And when I opened the doors of the barn and let people sort of flow into the barn, just the atmosphere and the excitement was just palpable, and it was, and it made all of that stress, all of that kind of worry seem worthwhile just right at that moment. And by the time the Lifeboats finished that evening, it was, I think both of us had realised that we were doing the right thing and putting the event on. Whereas I think if I'd asked you at midday, well, I did ask you at midday that day, and I'm not certain that you would have given. You didn't give me quite the same answer.
So we still had a few stresses going on at that moment.
There was
to be fair,
some
still
changes
on Friday morning, but
I think it was also like running an event like that is stressful at the best of times, but it was just the whole added thing with the COVID and everything else, and COVID security and asking people to be double vaccinated, and the way that the customers approached it and made it so easy for the team was just brilliant, because I think we were all really worried about it, how it was going to work, and actually
it was fine.
It really was fine, and it was in a way that I just hadn't expected at all, which was great.
No, really good, really good, and it was it was a fantastic event. There's no getting away from it. It was a fantastic event. Customers seemed to really have a great time. Yes, the weather was brilliant and massively helped. Artists seemed to have a great time, and they gave fantastic performances. And
The best thing about the lineup you put on was that every customer I spoke to, and I spoke to an awful lot of people that weekend, every single one had a different opinion of which should have been headlining on which night, which just shows the quality of the acts, because it wasn't like you had, sort of, 10 acts and then a headliner. What we had was a whole heap of bands that really got people ticking in different ways.
That's
all
true.
the way through the weekend.
Yeah.
And people were like, Mammal Not Fish should have headlined, and but that was great, because actually that meant that there was people had grabbed and enjoyed completely different aspects all the way through, and that was really wonderful. I really loved that aspect of it.
Yeah, no, I enjoy putting programs together in terms of scheduling them. I enjoy thinking about where people should go, and who should play before and after who, and artists weren't precious about it, and they gave great performances, and I think overall it worked really, really well. Yeah, I wouldn't change anything at all. Actually, I think the right people headlined, the right people gave the right performances at the right time.
Yeah,
and the people who came in later to the program, Ken Nicol, another sort of folk legend, Inlay came in quite late, and I loved them. And Bernard Hoskin stepped in for us late, and Lisa Redford. And they all gave just lovely performances. Real quality, and the quality of acts in East Anglia shone through, as well as the quality of the acts that came from further afield. And we've got a lot of huge talent in this county and counties spreading over to Suffolk and Cambridgeshire, and I think we celebrated that really well.
Yeah. So. No, it was well done, man. A massive pat on the back for the amazing programme.
Well done, all of us who were involved in doing it. The team. People commented on how friendly the team were, and how enthusiastic, and how they all seemed to be there. And we couldn't do it without that.
Yeah. There was a nice little gathering outside the orchard tent while the dry stones were on, and who were fantastic. Nice. And it was really nice. Just like a sort of moment of bonding. Like, wow, look at this. This is what, particularly for the guys who hadn't been through it before. There was sort of sense of pride from the ones who'd been through it before, and a sense of, wow, this is something quite different for those who hadn't been through it before. So that was great.
Well, the dry stones were great. And we didn't lose them overnight when we offered to show them the salt marshes at night under moonlight, and we seemed to lose them somewhere between the kitchen and the salt marshes, but they did emerge in the morning, so we're very grateful.
Yeah,
for
there were no headlines of Deepdale loses act in to the beast of the coast or whatever it was, to Black Shook.
Yeah, but no, they were they were great. They were lovely. We shared a bit of time in the kitchen with them, and it was good.
Yeah,
really good.
Well, it was fantastic. Really good things. And for anybody who is thinking about coming to a future festival, we definitely haven't said we're not running another festival. We just haven't said when or if we're running another festival. So just hold your horses. We will be in touch, and for anybody who came, we will be directly in touch, and for anybody who hasn't been before, we will let you know on newsletters and social media. And we're just gathering our thoughts and gathering our some sleep and some energy before we dive into doing anything else. But of course, as you've already heard in this podcast, we've got things like Haunted Deepdale coming up later this month, and we've got the first ever Deepdale Panto in late December. So there's still lots of things happening, and I'm sure as we gather our energies, I'm sure that the music programme will begin to grow again at Deepdale, because I know Chris just loves doing that sort of thing. So watch this space and follow us. Well, man, it's lovely to chat with you, and the fact that you supplied Bakewells, or the lovely Sheila supplied Bakewells, is it makes it all the better.
Anytime.
Cheers, man.
Great, yeah,
thank
cheers.
you.
Yeah, speak to you soon.
So we'll leave you now with a really happy one. Thank you so much for having us. Thank you, Deepdale. Thank you, Tim on the sound. It might sound crap out there, but it sounds great up here, and that's all, and that's all. Thank you for your support and enthusiasm. This is a number we use. This is not Molly Malone. This is a song. It's close. This is a song about the end of the world, the coming apocalypse, and the shit that we find ourselves in. Go out with a happy one, eh? This is called Doomed.
Chicken down. When I go a grrrr, I bet you've never seen a chicken freeze. Boom. We're gonna freeze because chickens don't freeze, but we're gonna freeze.
I can't always catch you if you fall. And I gotta stay, you're flying too near to the sun that is burning your skin. A faint distant cry, a black dot on the sky as you realize the trouble you're in. Lost, time stands still, the days rush on. I was taken for many a When since my baby left me, I found you placed it well. It's down the end of Lonely Street. Heartbreak Hotel made me so lonely, baby. I get so lonely, baby. I get so lonely. It's been so long now, nearly given up hope. A light shines down on me from a police boat.
Farm Chat with
Jason and Nathan are the dynamic duo from the wonderful Deepdale Farm on the North Norfolk coast.
So I had a lovely chat. I had the writer and one of the actors and Danny, the producer. So that was the director producers. That was very cool. And very excitingly, Steve, who's the writer, has just been adapting The Princess Bride for Radio 4 that's going out over Christmas. So how cool is that?
Inconceivable. Never going against the Sicilian when dust is on the line. I love that film.
It is just so good. And the thing I really love about it, I said to this to the guys, was how many times it's been referenced in modern films and TV that I've been watching. It's like again and again and again. It's so good. It's so good. Yeah. Love that film. So good. So how the devil are you, lovely man? I think definitely we need a big screen viewing of Princess Bride in the Brick Barn. That would be awesome.
That would be that would be lovely. I'm count me in. I'm there for that.
We could have it a themed evening. That would be very funny.
Oh my goodness, it gets even better.
Excellent.
Yes.
So we thought we'd better have some farm chat because last month we only talked about festival and it was lots of lovely artists that I was interviewing about performing at Deepdale and how lockdown had treated them and all that sort of stuff. But we didn't have any farm chat, so we thought it's probably quite a good idea to have some farm chat involved in the Deepdale podcast, really, as it's quite a core part of what we do.
Anyone would think we were a farm or something.
Yeah, no, it's a complete misnomer.
Weird. It's about time. It's about time. And talk about just continuing strangeness of the times, really, seeing as how we're talking about the farm and I'm nowhere near the farm. But
well, you've been thoroughly enjoying, sort of vending machine coffee in various hospitals. So, completely comprehensible that you're feeling slightly disconnected, but we've in the last few days we seem to have had an awful lot of conversations about farming and AB8, and you've been producing work plans for planting stuff, and lots of conversations with Steve while he's been driving up and down fields in tractors and stuff. So you're not disconnected in it completely, you're just not physically here.
Well, we're in the time of digital and sort of video conferencing farming, and it's quite interesting because there was an interview with a really interesting farmer. It may have been Tom Clark. I can't quite remember anyway. A little while ago, who he farms in somewhere like Cambridgeshire, and he lives in London. And I'm sat there thinking to myself, well, how on earth can you do that? And here we are. I'm attempting to manage a farm in Norfolk while being recently in Devon and Cornwall, as my beloved missus has been somewhat in the wars, but we've been using all the online tools and we've been sort of talking to each other, and it's been really sort of good to get up to speed with things, and is sort of showing that it's possible to do this stuff from a distance. It's not ideal. I really, really miss the farm, but we are getting on with it, and there's loads of stuff going on, and it's as much as anything else, that's the weather that's preventing us from getting more done, more than me not being around.
Yeah. And well, to be honest, I think the last 18 months has kind of set us up for this, because we've had an awful lot of occasions where one or all of us have not been able to be specifically where we'd like to be, and we've even got Steve doing video conversations on, while he's sitting in a tractor on a field somewhere. He does have to move the tractor to find signal, because it is North Norfolk. But when he sends you and I videos of him, drilling or whatever else, that's very, it just shows how much as a team we've digitalized in the last kind of 18 months to 2 years. Really, it's just incredible.
Yeah, it's quite odd taking decisions about broadcasting a crop, based on taking a sort of a look at photographs and sort of looking at the farm, kind of from a satellite image and a sort of a work plan. And it really just goes to show how it's not just the technology that's working. It's actually just, us as a team trusting each other and sort of communicating. And we have a little bit of back and forth going on WhatsApp, and and even WhatsApp went down the other day for about 6 hours, and then we might be a bit scuppered, but I suppose this is when we just pick up the phone. But I mean, yeah, we already do a lot of this communicating online, and it's a huge relief to me that you guys have been sort of cracking on with things on the farm, and I've been feeling divorced and separated from what's going on and missing the farm like anything, but actually still knowing what's going on and still being able to have conversations about getting seed and about seed mixes and about selling crop and about lining up the work plans. And this is a big part of my job as admin, and as much as I would love to be sat in a tractor right now cultivating, even if I could, because the fields are too wet, this is something which is doable from practically anywhere, so it's a huge relief.
Well, as I said to you, the admin can be done from almost anywhere. And yes, as you say, the weather has been less than favourable to farmers this year. So, even if you were here, you wouldn't be able to drive up and down the fields in the tractor. You'd be able to drive along the tracks beside them, getting immensely frustrated. So, swings and roundabouts. Yeah. So,
indeed,
of course, this weekend we've got our first rural crafts workshops with Richard Rood doing green woodworking, so that's very cool.
Yeah, that's brilliant. This is just the beginning of the sort of stuff that we want to be doing more of on the farm in the future, but it's fantastic. Richard's a really lovely guy who's been coming to one of our pop-up shops at Dalegate Market for some time now, and sort of showing what he does to people who are there, and sort of selling beautifully made crafts that he's got, but now expanding that to have people coming onto the farm. And we've got people in the brick barn this weekend, and we've got pole lathes set up, and we're going to be having people turning wood and starting to sort of pick up these traditional skills. And hopefully there's much more of this kind of thing happening on the farm in the future, but this is a great start, so it's really exciting that that's happening.
Yeah, no, it is very cool. And he's got 4 with him on Saturday. He's got 2 with him on Sunday at the moment, unless anybody jumps in to buy a place for Sunday before that happens. And then we've got more dates in November and December, which are all on the website. If you head to deepdalefarm.co.uk, you'll see a link to the green woodworking courses, and you can purchase your tickets on that one. It's only 4 people per workshop, so it's almost one-to-one tuition, and just a really relaxed kind of introduction to green woodworking. We know that Richard, if these go well, that he'll then want to do longer courses, sort of longer things where you can really kind of produce something fabulous, like a stool or that kind of thing, with all of your own work, which would be really good. So, but this is a sort of a basic introduction to try and learn about kind of the tools and the techniques, and then hopefully that'll go on to do. And then we're looking at working with a lot of other rural crafters. So, we're already talking to quite a few, and if anybody else wants to get in touch and chat to us, then we'd love to hear from you about running workshops at Deepdale. We've got space, and we've got materials, and we've got customers. We just need the teachers, really, don't we?
Yeah, indeed. And there are other opportunities coming up, hopefully from this winter. We've got hedgerow restoration starting this winter, so people will we're gonna sort some dates out and get those up fairly soon, but people will have an opportunity to come along and use some traditional tools like bill hooks and do things like hedgerow coppicing, hedge planting, hedge laying. So come along and join us for some of these work days and do some work on our hedgerows and sort of learn how to do this and learn, what we love about having volunteers on the farm. Normally when we've had our conservation volunteering weekends in the past, and when we're doing sort of these Wednesday activities in the future, it's really important that we're also taking people through why they're doing these things. If you're working on a hedgerow, to understand why a hedgerow is a wonderful thing, why it's such an important feature in the countryside, a biological corridor, a safe space for small mammals to travel, a food source for birds, a food source for pollinators, and just a thing of beauty. So hopefully, a lot more people coming onto the farm in future and learning and sharing this stuff with us. So, we'll be putting dates up on the events calendar to let people know more about these sessions as they come up.
And we'll be shouting out on things like the Hedge Collective Facebook group, which anybody's welcome to join, and we'll put it on our social media and stuff. So yeah, look out for those dates. It's been a bit of a mad summer season with harvest and the festival, and thousands and thousands of people in their motorhomes and their tents and staying in the rooms. So it's all been a bit crazy. So I'm afraid we haven't got those dates quite ready yet, but we're getting close, and we'll have some more info for you guys shortly, and that'll be fantastic. And I know you missed the festival, but and we missed the festival, missed you, and we missed you, but you'll be pleased to know we didn't have to move all those straw bales that we had to move in previous years. So I bet you didn't miss that bit.
Not so much, but it's good exercise. It's good exercise, and yeah, I'm looking forward to. I can't wait to get back to the farm, and there's going to be other things to hump around the place and stuff to get on with when I get back. So yeah, I can't wait to get back.
We're watching your face when you were lying in a large seed sock, kind of mixing seed, just sunflowers and all sorts of other seed. That is very. You look like a man who's very happy with life when you're doing that.
There aren't many finer things to be doing in this life than mixing up half a ton of wonderful things to stick in the ground. So yeah, looking forward to a lot more of that. Yeah.
So in terms of kind of actual farming, we're sort of concentrating on trying to sort of finish off the sort of pre-Christmas planting now, aren't we, really? Just trying to get things like all the cover crops are in. There's more wild bird mix going in. There's some winter wheat to go in due course, but doesn't need to go in immediately. So Steve's been driving up and down fields, and we've had a guy called Michael in kind of helping us as well. What else is sort of ongoing? I know we're trying to sell some crop at the moment as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've got some spring beans that we're looking to sell at the moment, and they were harvested relatively recently. We've got some winter wheat that we harvested, and we're looking at uses for that. And we actually have winter wheat now to go back into the ground, and hopefully we're taking part in a trial which is being run with the Organic Research Centre called Live Wheat, where we're going to be drilling about 6 different varieties, all in all 5 or 6 different varieties and mixes of wheat. And this is great because it lets us compare how these wheats work right next to each other in the same part of the field, and it's also giving us a clue as to which varieties of wheat will work better for us in the long run. And we've got wild bird seed mixes have been drilled and are now coming up. So the shape of the farm, the sort of the new design that we've got for the farm is really sort of starting to show itself. We've got pollinator mixes going down, so those are hopefully coming up fairly soon. And this is all. There's been a lot of work to do this year, so we've had quite a lot on, and the weather's not necessarily helped with that, but it's exciting times.
Yeah. That's cool. Well, mate, we hope that the coffee quality improves, that we are able to have man hugs at Deepdale again very soon. And pass on your best to the lovely H. And thanks for chatting with me on the podcast. Thank you so much for listening to the Deepdale podcast. It is really lovely to have you with us, and it's fantastic that you find this podcast useful and helpful. We love putting it together. The whole Deepdale team are involved in various different ways. Would love your suggestions. Please do let us know what might be able to include, who you'd like to hear being interviewed, any features you'd like us to talk about, any areas of the coast you'd like us to talk about. Do send us an email at podcast@deepdalefarm.co.uk. Love to hear from you, and please do subscribe to this podcast on any podcast directory, website or app. And if you like what you're listening to, please do leave us a review. We'd love to know what people think of the podcast. We would even love it even more if you were happy to tell your friends.
Skies all open wide, geese go high and over. Oh, now you're a beachcomber, a fistful of sandfire, sea, lavender, see you next year.